walk a baby, walk a baby. Okay, that ain't working.
That's weird.
Somebody's gotta get up and pick you up. Come here, come here, you crazy, okay, you all noisy. Why you all noisy? Huh? Why you all noisy? No reason to be all noisy like that. No, there is not. No sudden, no need to be noisy. No sudden, no need to be noisy.
And one of the things that really concerns me, that weighs on my heart, John, is the ways in which our president and a number of other national political leaders of both parties have used their megaphones in order to inspire and instill and energize folks based on division rather than based on unity.
But are you making any claim about that inspiration and the acts we've seen this week from the president?
Although these particular attacks were by deranged and hateful individuals, and it's hard to draw a clear line between specific arguments the president or others have made and attacks. Look, when Senator Sanders heard that one of his supporters had taken up a rifle and shot Congressman Scalise and tried to kill other Republican members of Congress, he took to the floor of the Senate and denounced it. What I do think is helpful is when those who are in national leadership recognize that some of the arguments they've been making have inspired or encouraged deranged individuals to take actions that they really don't support, to make it perfectly clear, to denounce hatred and anti-Semitism, as President Trump recently has, to distance themselves from the arguments that might have inspired these sorts of arguments, these sorts of actions. It is important for us to recognize that there's more work that we can and should do to lower the temperature and tone in our national politics.
And what about, you've mentioned the president in terms of contributing to this tone. Obviously, members of the president's party point to the protesters who shouted down Republican senators during the Kavanaugh hearings. Mitch McConnell was confronted in a restaurant. Speak to the actions on the Democratic side and what role you think they've contributed in this tone that you've been talking about.
And I'll just
Look, when Congresswoman Maxine Waters encouraged folks, supporters, protesters, advocates in my party, to continue this practice of harassing, of confronting folks from the other party, I spoke out against that. Many in my party did. I think it's important that people in leadership nationally who are well known discourage that kind of aggressive advocacy. But John, there is a real difference between folks in the Capitol who during the Kavanaugh hearings were spirited, were loud, and participated in their constitutionally protected right of free speech. And the gentleman who sent out 14 mail bombs this last week, the individual who exercised a hateful instinct there against political and media figures across the country. John, we narrowly avoided a remarkable, tragic week in American history. If those bombs had gone off, we would today be having a very different conversation about not assassination attempts against two former presidents, but what would have been a tragic wave of violence, almost unprecedented in modern history. We have to take a moment and step back and recognize that the heated rhetoric of American politics today is encouraging some folks who are deranged to take action based on that rhetoric.
Finally, Senator, one very quick question. You're on the Foreign Relations Committee. What's your feeling about the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and whether he knew about the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi?
Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Well, we don't yet know the full facts, but 20 of us, Republicans and Democrats in equal number,
Get out of here, get these dressed. Scram, I need 5 minutes. Both going your way out, please. Thank you very much.
Investigation and get back to us about whether or not we should be imposing sanctions. If the Crown Prince was directly involved in planning and carrying out this horrific, premeditated murder of a journalist, an American resident who wrote for an American paper, there should be significant consequences. We should reconsider our relationship with Saudi Arabia because it needs to be a relationship based not just on shared interests in arms sales or in regional security, but shared values. And this is an incident that goes right to the heart of one of our core values, the protection of free speech and of journalists and the media.
All right, we've come to the end of our time, Senator. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, John.
And we'll be back in a minute with a lot more. Face the Nation, don't go away.
From the 250,000 service members who transition out of the U.S. military every year, one of the toughest parts is a search for a job that takes advantage of the skills you've gained while serving. You can now search with the phrase "Jobs for Veterans" directly on Google, and then enter your military occupational specialty code. Google brings together job openings from across the web that match the skills you've gained in your military role. Just click to apply and use your experience to guide your future.
Comcast Business built the nation's largest gig speed network. Then went beyond chasing down network problems, to know when and where there's an issue. Beyond the network complexity, to a zero-touch, one-box world, optimizing performance and budget beyond having questions to getting answers. ActiveCore, how's my network? All of which helps you do more than your customers thought possible. Comcast Business, run fast.
The current state of our politics is a topic that has become much more acute in this past week. But anger has been a theme on the campaign trail for quite some time. Earlier this month, we spent time in Saratoga Springs, New York, with House Speaker Paul Ryan and the congresswoman who represents that district, Elise Stefanik, as she campaigned for re-election. Our conversation about budgets and taxes ran on CBS this morning, but we also talked about the increasing polarization among politicians. We started with Ryan's claim that news organizations don't cover Congress's bipartisan achievements. Why do you think there's not much talk about bipartisanship in the coverage?
I don't think it sells for you guys, for the media. You take a look at the bills we passed out of the House, about 1,000 bills. It's been one of the most productive sessions of Congress in a generation. And of those roughly 1,000 bills, over 80% of them are bipartisan bills. So we've tackled opioids, we've tackled human trafficking, we've rebuilt the military. All of those are bipartisan, but they don't get reported. It doesn't sell. So I honestly think, John, it's the hits and the clicks and it's the ratings chase that's on display in America today that says when they're fighting each other, that's when you cover it. So
if we accept some portion of responsibility for that, you've seen some President Trump's rallies. Do those rallies accentuate the things that unite us, the bipartisan achievements, or are they, do they do something very successful in politics, wildly successful,
Yeah.
which is sow division in the country?
Yeah.
Do you see that happening at his rallies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes meaning,
Well, not always, but sometimes. I worry about tribal identity politics becoming the new norm of how politics is waged. As conservatives, we always thought this was sort of a left-wing Linsky thing. Unfortunately, the right practices identity politics now as well. It's the day and age, it's technology and everything else. Identity politics, which is now being practiced on both sides of the aisle, is unfortunately working.
Are you doing
and I think
it?
we, as leaders, we got to figure out
Why is it
how
on-
we make inclusive
why are you taking a picture of that?
politics strategically valuable again.
you've talked about inclusive politics, which tries to unify. Does President Trump practice those kind of politics?
Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't.
But I mean, come on, honestly.
No, I'm just saying, look on economic growth, on tax reform, on getting the military, and helping veterans. Those are things that he has led us to that had really brought people together. And he talks about these at his rally, and that is inclusive.
You talk about tribalism. Here's the thing. You leave office, and you say to members like the congresswoman who are still in office, we've got to deal with this tribalism. Isn't the most effective way to deal with tribalism is to say to your own team while you're... Yeah, and President Trump has been very effective practicing the politics as they are. Not as like some, grad school idea of how they should be. But he's gotten 2 Supreme Court nominees confirmed. He got the tax cut bill through. So tribalism is working out just fine if it's getting points on the board.
Look, take the tax bill, for example. What is that going to do? That's going to create economic growth and opportunity. It's creating more investment. This company right here, 30 more jobs and higher wages, more investment in their factory to hire even more people. So what does that do? That helps
That took
reduce
forever.
economic
I'm
anxiety.
sorry.
So to me, the best way to combat tribalism is to starve it of its oxygen, which is anxiety, economic anxiety, security anxiety. And if we can pass policies
Right now I'm eating
that help
popsicles. I'm
improve people's
hungry.
lives, make them more confident about the future, then they'll be less prone to be swayed by the kind of tribalism identity politics we see these days.
But isn't another way, and perhaps a more effective way, is not to give into tribalism when it's convenient in order to get something passed?
Yes, that is well. But what can we do? We can control. She can control what she says. I can control what I say. She and I don't tweak these things. We say what we say, but also
I'm not shooting
we
yet.
pass policies that we believe are going to be good for this country and they're going to address people's concerns and fears and make them more secure in their lives.
Do you think what is more attractive to people who are running is the kind of inclusive, kind of old-style Republican vision that the speaker here is talking about, or the grittier, tougher, really successful kind of politics that's transformed the Republican Party that President Trump practices?
I think this election is going to be focused on results versus resistance. What I know does not resonate with voters is this resistance effort where, regardless of whether you agree with some of the focus of this administration, you're unwilling to work with them. So I think both parties need to address the cover of what's happening, and the siloing of where we're getting our information is a part of that.
Have you seen efforts to reach out to the president, to the other party?
I think he has reached out. Look at what he's done on opioids. This is an initiative from this administration.
But he's also called them the evil. How do you reach
Maybe
out?
doing a part 2.
Isn't that so right? That gets us into the cycle.
But just so you know, all these bills, this has been an incredibly productive term of legislation. The president has signed so many new, big, bold reforms in the law, most of which are bipartisan.
Again, that interview was taped on October 16th. We also spoke with Speaker Ryan about his plans after he leaves Congress in January, but with breaking news this weekend, we've had to put that on our website at facethenation.com. We'll be right back with more Face the Nation in a moment.
I was able to turn the aircraft around and the mission around.
This is so good.
I was able to save 2 men's lives that night.
My first job helped me grow up pretty quickly. That'll happen when you're asked to respond to coup.
In 2001, I signed up for the Air Force. 2 days later, 9/11 happened.
Oh, right. You guys should have a happy Halloween on Wednesday.
TripAdvisor now
And
lets
3
you book
days
over 100,000 tours,
until
attractions, and experiences in
Halloween.
destinations around the world, like New York.
Tomorrow
From bike tours to bus tours to breathtaking adventures. TripAdvisor makes it easy to find and book amazing things to do, so you can make your next trip monumental. Read reviews, check hotel prices, book things to do. TripAdvisor.
We stand for connecting every person, for a global community.
Facebook systematically went from interconnecting people to essentially having a surveillance system of their whole lives.
Everybody was pretty upset that we had caught it during the election, and it was a very intense time. I still have questions. If we're going to make sure that in 2018 and 2020 this doesn't happen again.
The Facebook dilemma. Tune in or stream. Check your local listings. Only on PBS.
Not long ago, Rhonda started here. And then more jobs began to appear. These techs in a lab. This builder in a hard hat. The welders and electricians do all of that. The diner staffed up because they all needed lunch. Teachers, doctors, jobs full of lunch. What started with one job
What? I already did it.
because each job in energy creates many more in this town. Energy lives here.
We'll have more of the Tree of Life Synagogue Massacre tonight as the CBS Evening News with Jeff Bloor originates from Pittsburgh. And my co-host at CBS this morning, Diana Boladriga, will report from there on tomorrow. Always tune in.
That's my tablet.
CBS and for all the latest news on these two
Popsicle says yay.
I know you want to leave me for Schwab, but before you do that, you should meet our newest team member, Techie.
I'm Techie. I can do it all.
Go ahead, ask it a question.
Techie, can you offer low cost and award-winning wealth management with a satisfaction guarantee, like Schwab?
Sorry, Techie can't do that. Calling Schwab. We don't have Techie, but we do have Techie. I'm Techie.
Are you getting low cost and award-winning wealth management? If not, talk to Schwab.
Sorry, guys.
To the first teacher who took me seriously.
To the professor who put me aside and said, you got it.
To the pilots who let me in the cockpit, but didn't let me touch anything.
To Grace Hopper.
To Mae Jemison. To Miss Bristol. What? To Mrs. Schwing. Kiss your my eye. Love you, Mama.
To whoever comes after me.
Let me help study either way.
When more girls go into STEM, the whole world benefits.
Thank the role models who inspired you. Thank you.
Create your own thank you at thankyourolemodel.com.
The screaming, the violence, the sneers, the death threats, the left, moving to socialism, undefended open borders, immediate tax increases, 100% government-run healthcare, the voting economy stopped. Nancy Pelosi back in power, gridlock, and then impeachment. Is that really what you want? Voting for any Democrat gets you all of that. Future 45 is responsible for the content of this advertising.
So they say that someday AI will transform the human race. Well, today, you're
Hi,
living
Domsky.
transforming.
What?
Hi.